Greetings everyone, Uni speaking. So throughout the past 3 to 4 years, I played quite a handful of Roblox games, and most of which just so happen to be horror games given my undying love for horror. I've heard about the game Roses, I'd say around the summer of 2021, from someone I used to talk to at the time. They recommended the game to me, seeing that I played a lot of the horror games on there. I wasn't interested at first, especially since it costed 25 Robux to simply play it, which I thought was kinda dumb. But I decided today to basically just say, fuck it, I'm gonna pay the 25 Robux, grab my Pomni cosplay avatar because why not, she just like me for real, and play this game for the first time with a bit of an open mind to see if it's still worth playing or not. Please excuse the fact that I'm playing on mobile. So the game opens up with a cutscene detailing a small backstory regarding the character or MC we play as. He tells how he and his friend were making a video as a project for the school or college they go to, at an asylum that many believe was haunted.
But my friend and I, well, we didn't believe them.
You sure as hell didn't.
Now he's missing. All because of a stupid video. I have to go find him.
And with that sets off the adventure to look for our lost friend Max.
Max, where are you?
The actual game opens up in a forest, with a trail leading to the asylum, along with random dialogues from the protagonist at times.
I'm gonna find you, Max.
Nearing the asylum, we come across about 4 tombstones, including one named Yozo? That's a rare name. I'd honestly like to hear that name talked about more. Also, a random rose you pick up because, get it? Roses?
There's no turning back now.
There's no turning back indeed, my little protagonist friend who probably looks like Leon fucking Kennedy. Kind of sounds like him too. Kind of.
Take care of yourself, buddy.
So we entered the asylum with our main task to find our Maxie boy. We did some exploring, go through lockers, open a bunch of doors to different rooms.
Looks like I'll need a key for this.
Because what's a horror game without the task of looking for a key? We find the key in a random office, and it turns out that key can open any door in this part of the building, which was certainly something I've never seen in a horror game before. Most other horror games I played, you need to get each individual key. We unlocked the auditorium, and oh no, spooky moment! Our next task is to look for a pair of pliers, which I'm embarrassed to say, but I looked almost everywhere for the pliers only for my dumbass to realize the pliers were right on the fucking floor of the auditorium this entire time. I swear if I was streaming this, y'all would have seen nothing but 15 minutes of me looking for shit that's right in front of me. So we used the pliers to break the chains on the door, more exploring. We head to one of the stairs and a jump scare happens. It actually did scare me because I thought it was going to be a chase sequence, which I'm going to tell you right now, I ain't a fan of chase sequences. Oh, fuck. Of course. Go, 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 go. Go, why am I not running? More exploring. We pick up a couple of notes because notes. Also gotta have that in your horror game. And hey, we pick up a rose that gives us a badge. That's nice, I guess. After more walking around and exploring a bit, we eventually entered a surgical block where one of the rooms has a secret passageway, leading all the way to another room. And oh no, the ground breaks apart and we fall. In slow motion for a dramatic effect. So we got ourselves a new task, which is to get the hell out of there. More walking, finding some notes which both contain codes for an individual door, and of fucking course it took me more than at least 5 minutes to get to the door, considering I didn't know what I was doing or where I was going at first. We eventually get to said door, and I gotta say, the sound used for clicking the symbols are a little strange to me.
That's not right. I should try that again.
We get the door open with the code respectively, pointlessly looking through shit. We get to the second code door, open that up, and...
Help me! It won't let go!
Hold on, I'm coming.
Please help me!
I'm gonna assume this is Max himself. Before we get a chance to rescue him, the leading path to the next door is blocked, so we gotta find another way out. Great! We come across this random underground location, which actually took more time for me to find my way out of than it should. But I have an excuse this time. At one point in one of the many areas we had to maneuver our way through, I ended up seemingly glitching out of the map, so I was seeing the outside of it. And it threw me off guard, so much so that I wasn't sure that this was the correct way to go, and just went to different areas. But after looking up a walkthrough for the game and skipping to the exit part, it turned out that glitch part was the right way. I just had to awkwardly climb through it to get to the exit door, and yeah, that's it. The game's over.
Well, that was a waste of time.
I'm gonna have to start with the negatives. The main criticism I have to give is how boring and pointless the game feels, and doesn't really make sense even. Firstly, the game didn't really feel scary. Hell, Bredian, whose inspiration I got this from by the way, wasn't lying when he said it felt like a walking simulator, and just simply had cool graphics and a beautiful setting. Yes, there's a few surprising and eerie moments, but still, nothing really terrifying happens. You just walk around and look for stuff. Also, what's even the point of the roses? I get that the game is called Roses, but why? Why roses? They're kind of just there. In my opinion, you could have just named the game Scary Asylum and it wouldn't make much of a difference. Also, where's the lore? I know not every single game has to have lore. I mean, the original Slender Man from 2012 lacked lore, and that ended up being the horror game of that year given popularity despite being a simple game where you collect pages and avoid the scary bald tentacle man in the suit. But at times like these, with games like this about a haunted, mysterious asylum, lore is needed. Hell, lore is what can make a horror game most of the time, as you get insight on the story, the setting, the characters, everything. The main backstory we get is that our protagonist and his friend, who are both dumbasses in my opinion, tried to make a video for their project. Friend ends up in the asylum that was said to be haunted, and now the protagonist has to save them. That's it. This game is rather short too, as the chapters aren't even chapters. When I got into this game, I thought there were legitimate chapters, but they aren't. They're simply parts of the asylum you get teleported to. The chapters are literally one big chapter as a whole, and that's the game. Obviously, I'll try to give it a bit of slack since the game is old, and because they stopped updating this game. Nonetheless, you're left just walking around looking for keys and items, a cheap cliffhanger, and that's it. Now, of course, I will give my positives. The voice acting, specifically for the protagonist, is pretty decent, especially during the cutscene. The voice actor did a pretty swell job at conveying his longing and determination to find Max. It did sound a little flat at times, such as during the scene where he had to run after Max to save him. I feel like they could have gave the protagonist a bit more of a panicked expression in his voice when it came to chasing after Max, rather than just a plain, "Hold on, I'm coming!" The design for the game does look rather pretty, and I can imagine how blown away people were with its graphics and designs back during its time. But the music, specifically the music around the forest part, oh god, I love it. I'm not sure who made this soundtrack for the game, but the soundtrack for the forest part is just so beautiful. Hell, I consider it the best parts of the game. Tell the truth, it even made me a little emotional. The atmosphere was also okay. It still wasn't really scary. Like, obviously it wasn't like the typical spooky, dreary, dark atmosphere you expect in a bunch of horror games, but also felt that having the beautiful setting was rather nice as it can contrast to the horror elements. And the inside of the asylum did give off a feeling of emptiness and loneliness, which is rather chilling. Again, not scary, maybe spooky, but mostly chilling, which I guess is enough. Ending the video off on a final note to ask, is the game worth playing still? I mean, if you're like me who has an open mind to try new things regardless of the money it costs, sure, knock yourself out. It's for the most part up to you. Me personally, never cared for the game, and even after this, I don't really care to play it again. And I'm better off just playing the Mimic or pretty much any other Roblox horror game. Honestly, it is disappointing because the game had potential. It had some level of creativity. The design was nice and rather unique even compared to today's Roblox horror games, but that potential was just abandoned. Now, I'll try to give them some slack, since again, this game is old, and there's a whole reasoning behind why this game is abandoned, at least according to the developers. But I suggest watching Bredian's video as well as reading comments giving a bit more insight on the development, since his video and said comments do a pretty good job at explaining what went down with the developers. And plus, I'm just giving my opinion on the game, not explaining its history. I do hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.